Greetings, friends, brothers, and sisters. Welcome to today's devotion. It is Psalm 47, a psalm of praise. Clap your hands, all you peoples, shout to God with loud songs of joy. For the Lord the Most High is awesome, a great king over all the earth. He subdued peoples under us and nations under our feet. He chose our heritage for us, the pride of Jacob whom he loves. God has gone up with a shout, the Lord with the sound of a trumpet. Sing praises to God, sing praises. Sing praises to our King, sing praises. For God is the King of all the earth. Sing praises with a psalm. God is king over the nations. God sits on his holy throne. The princes of the people gather as the people of God of Abraham. For the shield of the earth belongs to God. He is highly exalted. So clearly a psalm of praise. It is focused and centered a little bit on what God has done for the people, particularly in the third and fourth verse. He subdued peoples under the nations, under us, and nations under our feet. He chose our heritage for us, the pride of Jacob, whom he loves. But the more central focus of this praise is not what God has done, but who God is. God sits enthroned on his holy throne. He's the king over all nations. He is the great king of all the earth. He is the Lord Most High. He is awesome. And that's the character and nature of who God is. And that's what makes him worthy of praise, not the things that he does for us, but because of who he is. And notice that it's not just give praise to God in this psalm, it is sing praises, repeated over and over again, which should give us an indication when something is repeated over and over again that it is some instruction, that's some guidance. It is something that we should be doing. And as someone who has stood at the front of a church for several years now and looked out on to the congregation, I see that, and oftentimes, that people aren't singing praises to God. They are receiving or hearing worship music played or hymns played, and they are simply just listening to it and not singing praise to God. And I can relate to that. I'm wondering if it's not because, well, some of us don't have the greatest of voices, and I'm certainly among those people. One of the reasons why you don't hear me chanting at church. But God doesn't ask us to sing praises to him on tune or on key or with perfect notes or with a perfect voice. He didn't bless all of us with a perfect voice, but he did give us all voice, and it's singing praises and singing, making a joyful noise, if you will, to God is something that he is certainly worthy of because of who he is. He is the great God of all the earth. He is the creator, sustainer, and giver of life. Every breath that we take is a gift from him, and everything that we have and all that we are is because of him as well. Without God, I mean, honestly, what do we have? We've got nothing. And there is no life apart from God. So he is worthy of that praise, even if we do it off key or not very well. And there's something that's very visceral when we do lift our voices and sing to God. Music has always been a part of praise and worship of God. God created music, and certainly it connects us with emotions and feelings. Think of a song that you that was played at your wedding or your child's wedding or at a significant or seminal moment in your life, and you remember it takes you back in memory, but it also fills you with emotion, some particular songs. And I've been in situations where I've been offering a church service, if you will, to people who have severe dementia or Alzheimer's and are absolutely not responsive. And when I talk or say things or even say prayers, you get very little response from them. But believe it or not, I have actually sung a cappella without music to folks in that situation. Familiar hymns that they would recognize, like Amazing Grace or Lift High the Cross or other songs that are common among our worship people. And they get a response. And people respond to the music. It is something that is deeply embedded with our soul or in our soul. And I think that's the reason for that is because that's one of the ways that God chooses to have us praise him is through music. So even in your car, if you're listening to music or hymns or at home or whatever it is, any kind of music, lift your voices and see if it doesn't connect you somehow to God. Do it in a quiet room if you're embarrassed about your voice. But there's a funny joke that says, if God gave you this voice, then He's going to have to hear it if you're going, as as not a punishment, but as getting back at God for giving you something less than a perfect voice, and do it without abandon. Do it without feeling shame or embarrassment, because again, it is not for others to hear, but it is for God, and it pleases God, and honors God, and glorifies God when we do sing. So even as we are doing church online, I encourage you to sing while you're watching videos if you're not already doing so. And most definitely when we get back into a public space for worship, sing praises to God. Sing, 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 sing praises to our King of Kings. That's our devotion for today. Tomorrow, Psalm 48 is ahead of us. So until then, be well and be safe.